Make sure you have water close by as always. And just lie down in a comfortable way. So you can have your legs straight. Might feel better for you to have your knees bent. That's fine. Your arms are going to rest by your sides and your palms are going to face up. And I'm going to have you close your eyes. And we're going to start with those three sighs. So 3 times, take a deep breath in through your nose and then let your mouth open and just sigh everything out. And you can do that at your own pace. There's no rush. Once you finish those 3 cleansing breaths, I'm just going to continue to lay there for a moment, your eyes closed. But start to breathe just in and out through your nose. And then become aware of any of the contact points that you can feel between the back of your body and the floor beneath you. So perhaps just becoming aware of contact point of the back of your head and the floor. Your shoulders, your arms, which portions of your back might be making contact with the floor and which portions of your back are not making contact with the floor. Your hips. And then depending on whether your legs are straight or bent, just noticing where your legs or your feet might also be making contact with the floor. And we're going to do just a little exercise here. So, becoming aware of all of those contact points together, all together. As you breathe in, you're either going to visualize or you're going to feel, depending on how you take information in. Breathing in and letting all of those contact points kind of spread out, become soft and wide. You breathe in. And then when you breathe out, feeling those contact points sinking down towards the floor even more. So it's a breathing in and softening, widening, and it's a breathing out, dropping, and getting heavy. And if you find that it's maybe a little challenging to focus on all the contact points at one time, then maybe you focus on a couple for a breath or two, and then focus on a couple different ones for a breath or two. And just taking a moment now to think about something that you want to release, right? Something that you can let go of during the exhalation, whether it be something physical or a repetitive thought, self judgment, and emotion that you can let go of that can allow yourself to remain softer, to remain more relaxed just throughout your day, throughout your weeks. And then after you've had kind of a moment to think about that, maybe say it to yourself in your mind. You can stay on your back, but go ahead and let your eyes open here. And we're just going to start with a unilateral knee hug. So you can straighten your left leg. Now, if that's uncomfortable on your low back, then you can bend that knee. And then you're going to bring your right knee in towards your chest. So you can grab maybe around your shin. If it feels better for you to grab behind your thigh, you can do that as well. And you're just going to stay here and breathe. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about the left leg. And I just saw somebody pop on. So let me let them in. Good. So your left leg, if it is straight, you want it to be active. Okay. So you are pushing out through that left heel. You are pushing down through that left thigh, through the left knee. And maybe that right knee comes in just a little bit further. Good. And then we're going to start to make circles with it. So you can grab your right hand on your right knee and just start to make some circles and let these circles be as big or as little as you want. Remember, usually the bigger the motion, the more challenging it is. If you want to engage your core a little bit, you can allow your arms to rest by your side. And just doing whatever is most comfortable for you. Right? All the while keeping that left leg engaged. And then we're going to reverse that circle. Of course, just bring it around the other direction. Beautiful. Come back to center, switch sides. So you're getting a little bit of a stretch in that right hip flexor if that leg is straight, and then the left knee is going to draw in towards the chest, towards the shoulder, somewhere in that area. But you want to focus right here on the right leg. Okay, that's your foundation. It's what you're grounding down through. So you're going to push out through the right heel and down through the right thigh. Right, nice and strong. And then maybe bringing that left knee in just a little bit further if it feels good. Nice. And then coming into those circles. So left hand grabs that left knee, right arm comes down to the side, and then starting to make those circles. It can be big, it can be small, anywhere in between. You can put both hands on the floor if you like. But keeping that right leg really engaged here, nice and strong. And then reverse that circle. Beautiful. All righty. Both feet on the floor, both knees bent. Bring your feet about as wide as your mat here. And we're coming into those windshield wiper traction twists. So I like to flex my feet just means your heels stay down, your toes are going to lift, arms are by your side, palms down, and you're just going to rock your knees side to side here. If you want a little bit more of a stretch in the hip flexors, right? That's the front of the thigh where it meets the hip. Then whichever knee is on top, you are going to push that knee away from your body. Awesome. All right. Bring yourself back to center, heel toe your feet so they're hip distance apart now. And we're just going to come into not a full pigeon, kind of a modified pigeon. So you're going to cross your right ankle over your left knee, right? You want this foot flexed. It's not pointed, but it's flexed. And you're going to keep your left foot on the floor. And now I want you just to rock the legs side to side. It gets a little bit of a different stretch and a little bit of a different twist here. Beautiful. Release that. Switch sides, of course. The left ankle over the right knee. Again, you want to flex your left foot here. And you're just going to rock it a little bit side to side. So getting into, of course, a twist in the low back, a little bit in the lower torso, but also opening up your hips a bit here. Pigeon is great for that. All right, bring it back to center, uncross those legs, bring that right knee back into the chest again. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of a dynamic opener for the back of this right thigh. You can start with your left knee bent. If at any point in time you want it to be a little more challenging, you're going to straighten that left leg and do like what we did in the very beginning. So you're going to straighten your right leg now up towards the ceiling, push that heel up, and then you're going to bend the knee. Okay. Try to keep your shoulders relaxed. Try to keep the neck relaxed. And I say try because most people grip a lot. We're holding our leg. We grip with our shoulders and neck. So if this feels pretty good, you want a little bit more challenge, you're going to straighten your left leg, press out through the heel, down through the thigh. The whole time you're doing this dynamic movement with the right leg. Let's do one more. Very nice. Bring that right foot down and you're going to bring the foot so it's closer to that left leg. The left leg is straight now for everybody. Arms are going to be by your sides, palms down. And you're just going to let that right knee drop out to the side. And then you're going to use the inner thigh to bring that that knee back up. Okay. Again, your breath, your pace. You can think of exhaling as the knee draws up, inhaling as the knee draws down. And something to pay attention to is if your left hip is lifting up, that's the one with the straight leg. If that hip is lifting up and kind of flying up as you're going down with the right leg, you're going too far with that right knee. That can kind of help give you a little gauge as to how far to go. Good. Let's do one more. Beautiful. Bring that foot back out so it's in line with your right hip. Bring the left knee in. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay. So same thing, if you want to straighten this right leg at any point, of course you can. You're going to inhale, straighten the left leg up towards the ceiling, push the heel up. Exhale, let that knee bend. Okay, so it's an inhale as you straighten and push. Exhale as you bend and bring it in. So maybe this feels like you want a little more. Maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, stay where you are. You're fine. Otherwise, you might straighten that right leg out. So as you're doing this, you of course are going to notice, well, I won't say of course, but very likely you're going to notice a stretch in the back of the left leg, but you're also going to start to notice activation in the front of your left thigh. So we're actually stretching the back, but also strengthening the front all at the same time. That's why I love doing this. I do this in a lot of our classes. 2 for 1. Let's do one more. Perfect. Now that left foot's going to come down, you're going to walk it so it's touching the right leg. Arms are going to come by your side, kind of a half butterfly here. So you're going to drop that left knee down, use the inner thigh to bring it back up. Okay. Again, if you find that this right leg or right hip, I should say, is like flying up into the air, that means that the left knee is going down too far. Don't go down that far. And really just focusing on kind of squeezing that left inner thigh to bring the knee back up. And be working our inner thigh a good amount today. It's your warm up. Good. 2 more. All right. Very nice. So bring that so it's back in line with your left sit bone. Bend the right knee, feet hip distance apart now. Arms are going to be by your sides. And have your thumbs so they're facing up towards the ceiling right now. So palms are facing in towards your body. And you're just going to inhale, reach those arms up towards the ceiling. If you have the mobility to reach them up over your head, you can. And then you're going to exhale and bring them back down. Okay. So you're just kind of going up as far as your body says is okay to do so. And then you're bringing them all the way back down towards the floor. And we're going to do one more. Good. Once those hands come down, palms are going to face the floor once again. Feet are hip distance apart. Okay. And we're just going to rock. These are called pelvic tilts. Um, it's almost as if you're doing cat cow in your pelvis, but of course you're on your back. Okay. So you're going to kind of arch your low back, and then you're going to press the low back down into the floor. Okay. So you're going to arch your low back, and then you're going to press the low back down into the floor. You're going to arch it and press it down. Now, another thing that we've talked about in the past, the Mula Bandha. So the Mula Bandha is an energy lock, and it's essentially an activation in the pelvic floor. Okay. So as you're exhaling in this pelvic tilt, you can engage the pelvic floor, like pull it up as the low back presses down. And then as you inhale and you arch the low back, relax the pelvic floor. That's something you can incorporate if it doesn't feel good. As always, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything. These are just little suggestions. Good. So let's do one more full tilt. So an inhale and an exhale. And then I want you just to find neutral. Okay, so you're not arching the back. You're also not pressing it down. It's nice and neutral here. And we're going to go back to the arms. So this time your palms are going to face up towards the ceiling. And you're going to let the elbows bend, kind of like a snow angel. And you're going to lift the arms. Maybe they come to cactus, right? Maybe you lift them up over the head. And then you're going to exhale and you're going to bring them all the way back down and let the arms straighten. Right? So it's a bigger movement, which means maybe your breath is slowing down. All right, let's do just one more. And after you do that one more, you're going to turn your palms back down towards the floor. And we're going to do, I hesitate to call this bridge. I would prefer to call it like a mini bridge because I don't want your hips to go all the way up. All right. So you're going to press your feet down and press your arms down, press your shoulders down. Okay. And you're just going to lift your hips a little bit. Go into that kind of exhalation pelvic tilt. And then you're going to bring them back down. Try to maintain that exhaled pelvic tilt. And you're going to lift them up. And you're going to bring them back down. So it's almost like a really slow pulse, right? Just coming up a tiny amount. Let it be slow. And something that a lot of people don't think about when you're doing some type of a bridge pose or a mini bridge is the inner thighs, right? We're thinking about our back, we're thinking about our glutes. I want you to think about the inner thigh. Pretend you're holding a block between your inner thighs. If you have a block, you're welcome to put one right there in between your kind of between your knees and squeeze that block. Okay, we're going to do this one and then one more after. Awesome. Once those hips come down, one last thing on our back here is to just bring those knees back into the chest and give yourself a little rock side to side. Right. So you are going to come now and roll onto your side. Let's roll onto the right side first. So I'm going to grab a sip of water. If anybody else needs to grab a sip of water, please do so. I don't know why, but laying down, my throat got froggy. Right. Apologies. And we're going to do our little leg hip series. So I think a lot of you are familiar with this. You're going to be on your right forearm. Okay. You can start here. If at any point in time you think it feels more comfortable, there's really not one way that's better than the other. To come down and rest like so, you can do this too. Okay. So whichever feels better for you. I'm going to come onto my forearm. There's no right, there's no wrong. Your knees are bent and your feet are together. All right. And we're going to start out with clam. So shoulder, elbow in the same line, elbow, wrist, right, in the same line. And you're just going to lift your top knee up, your left knee, and then you're going to bring that knee back down. You can put your left hand on your hip if it feels better and more secure to put your left hand in front of you. You can do that. But something I want you just to look at and pay attention to is if when this left knee is lifting up, like is your whole body turning? Try not to let that happen. Try let it just be that left knee lifts up, and you should feel this work like in the outer hip, the outer glute area. And of course, you breathe, right? Breathe when you do it. We do two more. One, two. And so now we're reversing that clam. And what I mean by that is knees are staying together and the top foot is lifting up. So this also works the hip, but it works it in a very different way. Okay. And you'll start to feel some of that activation, even a little bit in the left outer thigh here. Right? And don't feel bad if the foot doesn't go up high. It's not going to go up high, right? Your body's not meant to move that way with the foot way up out to the side. Good. Breathe, breathe, breathe. One more. And release that down so you can keep your right knee how it is. Straighten your left leg. Let it hover off the floor. Again, you can stay up on your forearm. You can come down onto the floor, but with control. So try, again, not to let the torso move a whole lot with this. Okay. You're going to bring that leg forward as far as it goes. And then you're going to swoop it back, but swoop it back further than where it started. Okay. So bringing it forward, slowly scooping it back. So when it's coming forward, you're engaging a little bit of the torso. When it's coming back, you should feel that in the back glute area. Awesome. Anytime you need a break, you just lie down. We're pretty close to the floor. So take your break anytime you need it. Good. We're doing one more. Awesome. Point the toes, the left toes. Okay, we're going to do a tap lift, tap lift. Try, especially if you can see yourself, right? Try not to let when you lift this leg come much higher than hip level, like where it is right now. So you're just going to tap it down and you're going to lift it up. You're going to tap it and lift it. Okay. Just get a nice little rhythm for yourself. Now we're working on a different part of the hip. So this is kind of that really in that side hip. Okay. This one for me, this one always gets me. I feel it. So that just shows me that my muscles are kind of weak there and it's good to strengthen it. I should actually test that theory now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe next time we do this series, we start with this. Maybe it's just because I always end with this. And I'm like, whoo, all right, one more. Very nice. So now you're going to bend this right leg. You're going to straighten, I'm sorry, bend the left knee. I apologize. Straighten the right leg. And you are going to take your hand, your foot is in front of your straight leg. You're going to take your hand on top of your knee and you're just going to kind of rock this back and forth. And so this is more of a stretch, more relaxing. We're not trying to engage anything here. Just to loosen that hip back up. And it's okay if it doesn't move a lot. Good. All right. So find nice and neutral. One more thing on this side before we get off of this right arm, and it is the bottom inner thigh. All right. So make sure you're nice and comfy on that right hip. You are going to flex your right foot. That's the straight leg on the bottom, and you're just going to lift and lower. Right. For this, I find that it's a little easier to do it if you tilt back a little bit. So you're not really on the side of the right hip, but you're back a little bit on the glute. 2 more. Awesome. Release that. You're going to come into a child's pose before we go to the other side. So a nice little release for those hips. Always remember if child's pose is uncomfortable on your knee, okay, then like put a blanket or a bolster right here. If the floor feels super far away, lay your body on a bolster. There's nothing you can do wrong. Use your props if you need them, if you have them. Otherwise, let your head drop, let yourself relax. Okay, take a couple sighs here if you like. Go ahead and walk yourself up, and we're gonna bring it on to the left side now. Okay, we're doing the same thing. Same thing on the other side. So determine, do you want to be up on your forearm? Do you want to rest down on your head? Both are fine. If you're on your forearm, make sure alignment is good. So shoulder over elbow, elbow in line with the wrist. That's very important. Knees are bent, feet are together. Okay, hand can be on your hip for a little more challenge or down here for a little more support. So we'll start with our clam. You're just lifting that top knee, and then you're going to bring it back down. Okay. The thing to look out for is your torso shifting back, right? Are you opening up? Or is there a lot of movement from the thigh up? If there is, don't lift that right leg quite so high. One more clam like this. Then we're going to glue those knees together, and you're going to lift that right leg up, or right foot up, sorry, and you're going to let it come back down. Right? And just kind of feeling it a little bit of a different spot. One more. Very nice. Straighten that right leg, the top leg, flex the foot, right? So you're going to bring it forward and back. So you're going to bring it forward, foot stays flexed. You're going to bring it back to the point you feel your glute engage, right? You don't want the back to arch necessarily, but you want your glute engaged. It doesn't go back super far. But the idea is that you're working those gluteal muscles. So you're nice and strong when you walk. And another thing I always like to point out is one side feel like a lot easier than the other? One side feel really more challenging than the other? Is it just one of the positions that we're doing? Because we're working all different areas of this hip area with each of these exercises. All right, bring it back to neutral. And we're just doing our tap and lift. So tap and lift, tap and lift. Good. You can point your toes if you like to, but try not to let that right leg come up much higher than the level of the hip, right? Even if you can, keep it nice and low. And you get to work in that little side hip area. Two more. One and two. Very nice. Bend that knee, straighten your left leg. Okay. You're just going to put your right hand on that right knee and you're just rocking it a little bit side to side, forward and back. And again, this isn't really engaging. That's why you're using your hand for your support here. All I want you to really do is let that space relax like a wet noodle. All right, so bring it to neutral. Last thing on our side here is this bottom inner thigh. So you're going to flex that left foot. Again, I find that I don't roll back a lot, right? But I roll back a little bit. So I'm a little more on my glute and off of that bony part of the side hip for this. And you lift and you lower. I find you can get into the inner thigh. You can activate that inner thigh a little bit better if you're lean back just a tad. One more. And release. You're going to come into another child's pose. So same rules apply. If you need any support with props, take the support. Great place to take a couple really deep sighs. So go ahead and walk your hands over to the right side of the mat. Let your head drop again. You're looking for a stretch in the left side body here. Remember, your hands could be next to each other. You might put your left hand on top of the right hand. You might cross it over, just whichever feels good for you. And then bring it back to center. Of course, bring it on over to the other side. Kind of same rules apply. Hands can be next to each other. You can put right hand on top of left or cross it over. Wonderful. Bring yourself back to center. We're coming up to tabletop. So hands and knees here. Bring your knees underneath the hip points. Toes are no longer touching. We'll take a few cat cows. As you exhale, drop the tailbone, drop the head round the back. As you inhale, reverse that, lift the tailbone, lift the head, arch the back. So you'll see I'm not demonstrating the inhalation. I have not been cleared from my doctor after surgery to do that move. Letting you guys know it. And as you inhale, that tailbone lifts up really high, the chest comes forward, the head lifts up. And as you exhale, you round it back. Good. Let's do one more. And then we'll meet back in neutral tabletop and coming into your spinal balance. Okay, so right leg's behind you. There's lots and lots and lots of modifications and options here. So you can keep your right toes down. You can lift the right leg up. You're going to find that engagement in that right glute, right? You can keep both hands down or you can reach your left arm forward for spinal balance. You're going to breathe, engage the core, reach to the fingertips, reach to the heel. And bring yourself all the way back to center, switch sides. So left leg comes back. Maybe your toes stay down. Maybe you lift the left leg up, engage that left glute. Maybe both hands stay down, or maybe you reach that right arm out in front and breathe. Awesome. Bring yourself all the way back to center. You've got two options here. If down dog is not in your practice, if that's not something that you're doing, you can just come right up to stand. If you are doing downward facing dog, then you can reach your arms, your hands just a little bit further in front of you. Tuck your toes, come up to down dog. So the legs straighten, hips lift. And then you'll walk your feet forward towards your hands, coming into a nice, maybe wide leg forward fold. Let the head drop. Good. Roll yourself up. Head is the last thing that's going to lift. Then you come all the way up to stand. So anytime we transition, I always like to offer opportunity for you to grab some water. So grab some water if you like right now. Give you a quick moment for a few sips. And then when you're done getting that water, you are coming onto your mat, feet hip distance apart here, and you're just going to reach the arms up. So grab that right wrist, reach over to the left, let those elbows bend. Maybe that top arm comes back a bit. If it feels like too much stretch, you can actually drop your top elbow forward and it takes some of that stretch away. Good. Bring it up simply. Switch side. Same thing here. If it's too much stretch, drop it down. Good. Bring yourself all the way back up. Release the arms. You're going to bring your feet pretty wide, wider than hip distance, and your toes are going to come out a little bit. So we're going to kind of dynamically go up and down into a squat here. This is going to help you strengthen those inner thighs. Excuse me. Just keep in mind, you don't want your knees dropping in if your toes are pointing out. So try to keep your knees in line with your toes, even if that means you bring your toes a little bit more forward than out. All right, that's more important to me. All right, so hands are on the hips. You're just going to bend the knees. Just bend as far as you want to go. And then you're going to straighten the legs. And I want you to squeeze those thighs. Right? Bend the knees. And then you squeeze the thighs as you come up. It doesn't have to be fast. Okay. Another thing you'll notice is as you're drawing those knees towards the pinky toes, you're engaging, right, your outer thighs. You're engaging your outer hips. And as you're going down, you're engaging those inner thighs. Good. We're doing 3 more. So 3 and 2. Awesome. And 1. Good. So heel toe the feet out just a little bit more. And you are going to bring your right toes towards the front of the mat. And then make sure your left toes are kind of in. The books say like 15 degrees. But they're facing to the side, maybe in just a little bit. And we're just coming to warrior 2. So you're going to bend your front leg, look over your right middle finger, Both arms are up. Pelvic floor is engaged, Mula Bandha. All right, you can stay here, work on this leg strength, okay? Or you can come on with me to side angle. Forearm is gonna come onto the thigh. Left arm either reaches back, maybe up, maybe over the head. Right, so if you reach it over the head, you're gonna feel pretty big stretch on this side body. Just being aware of that. And your legs are really strong. Like press your feet down and you'll find that you get a little bit freer in the torso as you do that. Good. Press the feet down a lot. Come all the way back up. Straighten that right leg. Bring the toes forward. Come down into a wide leg forward fold here for a moment. And you're going to kind of bend one knee at a time, rock side to side. So help you stretch some of that inner thigh out. Very nice. Come back to neutral. Take your hands to your hips, bend your knees a little, come up with a nice flat back. And we're going to warrior two on the other side. The left toes towards the skinny edge of the mat. Make sure the right toes come in just a little bit. Bend that left knee, lift the arms. Good. You can look over your left middle finger. That's your drishti. Very nice. If you want to stay here or work on leg strength, go for it. Otherwise, come on down, side angle, forearm onto the thigh. Okay, right arm can reach back. It can reach up. It can reach over. Wherever you are, press the feet down a lot. Okay. Think of massive amounts of energy coming out of the feet, and then you get some freedom in the torso. Good. Bring it all the way back up. Then straighten that leg. Start to heel toe the feet back together. Very nice. All right. So our balance today is going to be a knee hug balance. It's similar to tree, but a little bit different. Let's stand on the right foot first. So the right toes are pointing forward as best as possible. Find something to look at, your drishti. And then you're going to either bring that left knee up and hold behind the thigh, or maybe you're holding the knee or around the shin. And you're breathing. And you're looking at something that's not moving. It feels easy. Take your right arm, reach it out to the side. So you're holding the left knee with just the left hand. Awesome. Release it down. Other side. Find something not moving. Steady your balance on your left leg. When you're ready, lift the right knee, grab behind the thigh, the knee, or possibly around the shin. Breathe. If it feels easy, maybe you reach your left arm out to the side and hold the leg with just the right knee or right hand, excuse me. Beautiful. And slowly release. Very nice. Very nice. All right. So have a seat, please. And grab some water if you need to. Time always flies by when I'm with you guys. All right. So we're going to come to bound angle pose. We did kind of like a half supine bound angle pose in the very beginning when we were on our backs. But now we're going to do it seated. It's a little different. All right. So both feet are coming together. Knees are out to the side. For some people, so what I've noticed is some people this either affects their knees, doesn't feel good on their knees, And you can do a couple things for that. You can bring your feet much further in front of you, okay? And or you can support your legs with a block. A lot of times I'll put a block underneath people's like outer thighs or blankets or pillows, right? Whatever. And so then it takes some of that pressure out of the knees and also the inner thighs. Um, the other realm of people is it's hard on their hips. So if it's hard on your hips, sit up on a pillow. What you want to do is you want to lift your hips up, your pelvis up to a higher point, and then it takes a lot of that pressure off. So if that is you, grab a pillow, grab a blanket, grab a block, whatever you need to do. Otherwise, bring those feet in as close as you can. You might grab your shin, right? And so while you're grabbing something is because I'm looking for not like this rounded back, looking for you to be lifted up, okay? You might grab your ankles, you might grab your feet. I'll do a little side angle view of that too, okay? You don't want to be rounded in the back. I want you to be lifted. So I even find that, those of you who know me well know that I'm always on the front of my sits bones. And we talk about that a lot, which I am here. So if you're one of those people, you're going to come back. You want to be on the center of the sits bones. You're one of those people that you hang out in the back of your sits bones, right? You're going to drop that pubic bone down, lift the chest up. There you go. Nice and neutral. And we're just going to stay here. We're going to breathe. Not necessarily going to lean forward. Sometimes there's a lot of work in stillness. You can keep your eyes open. You can close your eyes. Let the breath become a little slower and a little deeper. Big breaths in, nice slow breaths out. Nothing rushed. Notice how you have to start using your torso to remain in this stillness. Any micro adjustments that maybe you can make, letting your shoulders relax, your neck relax. Very good. If your eyes are closed, slowly letting them flutter back open. You're going to straighten both of your legs. You can have them about hip distance apart unless you know you're really open in the back of your thighs here. Then you can bring your feet together. And this is Paschimottanasana. You can stay upright. You want to start to lean forward, you can. Right? I like to try to find how far I can go forward with my back relatively flat. And then I like to press my thighs down, my heels out, and then see if I can let my back round and my neck drop. And then just breathe there. It's a big stretch, a big whole back body stretch, especially when the back rounds, the head drops. Good. Slowly roll yourself back up. And from here, you're going to make your way onto your back. If you need any more release in your low back at all, bring your knees to your chest. You can kind of roll in circles or rock side to side. If you're ready just to come into Shavasana, then you can come right into Shavasana. And might I recommend maybe one of two different ways to do Shavasana today, since we worked a lot on the inner thighs and the hips. It might feel okay for you to bring your feet together and your knees wide for reclined bound angle. You can always put some support underneath the legs. And if you get there and you're like, not today, then just come to regular Shavasana. You can straighten your legs, maybe your arms are by your side, palms up. But once again, see if you can become aware of those contact points between the back of your body and the floor beneath you. And as you breathe in, let those contact points spread and soften. And as you breathe out, let those contact points relax and become heavy. Beautiful thing about virtual yoga is you can stay in your Shavasana as long as you like. If you want to stay, you can stay. You are coming out and you are in bound angle. I want you to actually bring your knees together and your feet wide and just rest here for a moment. If you're staying and you're in bound angle, then when you do come out, do the same thing, knees together, feet wide. Kind of rest there a moment. And then everybody that is returning now, you're going to roll over to your side. All right. Slowly push yourself all the way back up to sit. Sit any way that's comfortable for you. And it's been a pleasure to be with you guys today. And I always end my classes with peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, peaceful intention. Namaste.